What's up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast presented by Olde City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia-based sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. The Eagles go into Baltimore and hold the number one offense in the NFL to under 20 points to get an incredible win. We'll recap that game along with some news and discussions, capping off with the Week 14 preview versus the Carolina Panthers. But stay through to the very end to hear about some awesome deals from our sponsors. Without wasting any time, let's dive into the show with that quick recap. So the pattern continues, y'all. I don't know what it is about the first quarter, but we don't get shit done in it. In fact, we go down 9-0 in the first quarter thanks to a Justin Tucker field goal and a Mark Andrews touchdown, only for the point after to be botched. The Birds would force the Ravens to go 3 and out after they started out at the 1-yard line halfway through the second quarter. This would lead to an excellent drive which featured 2 A.J. Brown receptions, a Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts run, capped off with a fake handoff to Kenneth Gainwell for a Dallas Goedert passing catch for the Eagles' first touchdown of the night. Birds cut the lead down to just 2. The Birds would force the Ravens to go 3 and out yet again after a major tackle for loss on Derrick Henry by Zach Bond on a 3rd and 2 with under 7 minutes left to go in the half. Back on offense, the Birds would chew up over 5 minutes of time on the clock with an excellent drive down the field, featuring 3 excellent passing catches from Hurts to A.J. Brown, all within the middle of the field, followed by a Dallas Goedert reception to get the Birds back into the red zone. Under 2:45 left on a 3rd and 5, it's a quarterback draw and Hurts heads into the end zone. However, it is marked down at the 1-yard line, and we all know what happens next. A brotherly shove occurs on the very next play. The snap is bobbled, but Jalen Hurts is able to recover it and lunge for the end zone, securing the touchdown. Birds up 14-9. The half would end 14-12 thanks to a Justin Tucker field goal. The Ravens will get the ball to start off the half, and within 4.5 minutes, they're down at the 20-yard line thanks to a couple rushes from Derrick Henry and a monster passing catch to tight end Mark Andrews. However, on a 3rd and 5, Lamar can't find anyone and is sacked for a 10-plus yard loss by none other than Zach Bond, along with the rookie Jalix Hunt, who saw more snaps this week due to the injuries on Brandon Graham and Bryce Huff. This would set up a 47-yard field goal try for Tucker, who is just off again this game as he misses and the Birds take over. The rest of this quarter looks a little bit shaky for the Birds, leading up to about 1.5 minutes left in the third. The Ravens converted on a couple of third downs thanks to Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, even with the fumble on 3rd down and on the punt return, since both were committed yet recovered by Baltimore. It's 3rd and 7 from the Eagles' 35-yard line. Lamar fires back, and at first we thought it's caught by former Eagle Nelson Agholor, but he just couldn't hold on to the catch. Surprise, surprise. This would set up a 53-yard field goal try for Justin Tucker to take the lead. However, his dry streak just continues as the kick goes wide right and misses. Eagles taking over with pretty decent field position as we go into the fourth quarter. About 12.5 minutes left in the final quarter. It's 3rd and 10 from the Baltimore 30-yard 9 line. Lamar Jackson steps back and does a quick pass to Justice Hill, who is stopped well before the first down marker. Around the 8.5-minute mark, Eagles have the ball on the Ravens' 36-yard line. It's a QB run, and Jalen Hurts rushes for the first down and then some. This would set up, literally the very next play, a handoff to Barkley, who sheds defenders after finding an open hole for a 25-yard rushing touchdown. Eagles extend the lead 21-12. On the Ravens' next drive, it's 3rd and 11 with about 7 minutes left in the game. At the Baltimore 39-yard, Lamar Jackson steps back, sheds the tackle, can't find any open receiver, so he finds a quick pass to Derrick Henry behind the line of scrimmage, but the play is read like a book by rookie cornerback Cooper DeJean, who lays down the hammer, pile driving Derrick Henry for a 4th down. Now, the Ravens would go for it on 4th down as Jackson steps back, fires a pass, but it is broken up and nearly intercepted by backup safety Tristan McCollum, playing for the injured Reed Blankenship. And the Birds would take over on downs. The Eagles would chew down the clock even more and settle for a field goal to make it 24-12. The Ravens would get down the field and score a garbage time touchdown with a pass to tight end Isaiah Likely, but once again, too little, too late. The Ravens can't recover the onside kick, and the Eagles get an immaculate win with a final score of 24-19. Jalen Hurts would finish the game 11 for 19 for 118 yards and a touchdown, along with 9 carries for 29 yards and a rushing touchdown. Saquon would finish with about 107 yards on the ground and 10 yards in the air, along with a rushing touchdown. The lone receiving touchdown would be scored by Dallas Goedert, who would go 3 receptions for 35 yards on the night. All right, y'all. Let's get into some Eagles news now. Starting with the Eagles waived wide receiver Paris Campbell just a day after that immaculate win. Additionally, the team released wide receiver John Ross from the practice squad in order to make room for fullback Kari Blasingame to be on the practice squad. With Saquon preferring a fullback on certain plays, and with Ben Van Sumeren, our hybrid fullback linebacker, out for the season due to a knee injury, it is an important signing as Saquon heads for that all-time single-season rushing record to have just a little bit of backup in there. Next, Eagles star tight end Dallas Goedert, who was originally listed as week-to-week with a knee injury, now some sources saying that he could land himself on IR after an MRI testing was done in order to determine the severity of his knee injury. If he does land on IR, he'll miss automatically weeks 14 through 17, thankfully being ready to go for the playoffs. Hopefully, we hear some confirmation on the exact status of this knee injury soon, but hopefully it's a speedy recovery. This isn't the first time the tight end has been bitten by the injury bug, but I'm praying that this is the last time for him. All right, y'all. Let's go into our discussion, opinions, and overreactions on this monster win, starting with the offense. Now, I don't know who made the script for us to completely shit the bed each game in the first quarter, but then to suddenly explode in the remaining 3 quarters. But they could change it to making it awesome for us in all 4 quarters. I would love that. We love consistency. It took a little bit, but the offense got things together after that bad first quarter. When Jalen only needs to pass the ball 19 times, you have an overall great run game and you're using it intellectually. You had several moments where the Eagles showed a run play to one side, let's say the left side. For example, there were plays where they showed a run to the left side and had all but one lineman block into that direction, but then they would pull the left guard out to the right to handle the edge rusher coming out and create a hole not for Saquon Barkley, but for Jalen Hurts, who on a few plays got 9 rushing yards, 11 rushing yards, 12 rushing yards, something like that to get us the first down. We have such a dynamic quarterback, running back, run game tandem that Kellen Moore has done a great job with the play calling that just confuses the defense, including a defense that runs a lot of man coverage and have been struggling under said man coverage throughout the game. Are we going to give it to Saquon? Is Hurts going to keep it and run? Who knows? That is the overall question for the defense, amongst others. They got the opposing linebackers hesitant to blitz through in a gap or to hang back, hesitating to stick to Saquon or to stick to the QB. It's perfect because you just draw more defenders into this trap and make it impossible for them to pick up on what they're doing. Last year, we were so predictable with our play callings, especially when you have Christian McCaffrey hanging out with the Manning brothers and calling the plays, from his living room. But with this run duo, it makes it damn near impossible because, you could fake the handoff and Jalen Hurts keeps it. You could dump it off to Saquon. You can do play action. You can, do switch routes, hit it to your tight end, hit it to A.J. Brown, hit it to one of your random ass receivers. You never know. But anyway, also, Moore just took advantage of the middle of the field like a boss with switch routes and creating uneven one-on-one matchups with them. So for example, there was one play where A.J. Brown's lined up in the slot, and you had Dallas Goedert lined up on the right side of the line next to Lane Johnson. On a 2nd and 1 play, Most defenses would probably assume you're going to give it to Saquon, or, you could even say that Jalen Hurts could keep and run for those couple of yards, or sorry, for that 1 yard, because it's only 1 yard. But Kellen Moore knows that, so he dials up a quick short pass with crossing routes. You have AJ switch to the inside towards the middle of the field, and Dallas Goedert switching to the outside, forcing an uneven matchup because they're in man coverage, but they got to swap, and Dallas Goedert gets the first down. It was smart play calling and was adjusted earlier than later in the game, which used to be a struggle and is now not so much. And it helped us get the win. There were no Hail Marys that chewed up zero time on the clock and got us nowhere. There was no hero ball shit, no questionable plays on crucial third down situations. It was intelligent and methodical football. The only thing I could critique about it would be the ability to target the other receivers more than we did. I'm not counting A.J. Brown in this situation. All the other receivers in the game had only one target. Now, granted, these are wide receiver threes, wide receiver fours, backups, etc., because Devontae Smith was out. So I understand the hesitancy to try to get out those guys. But as a quarterback, you got to have faith in all of your players to be able to make those plays too, not just your number one guys. But overall, you got to give it up to these players too, not just to Kellen Moore. Jalen committed no turnovers again. He had great reads in no huddle situations to change the plays as necessary and make crucial gains. You had A.J. Brown continuously getting open in the middle to set up great field position. The offensive line maintaining their blocks throughout the whole game without any stress. Only allowed 2 sacks against a pretty decent run defense. The wide receivers, they were also holding their blocks on run plays too, especially on the 25-yard rushing touchdown from Saquon Barkley. You see Jahan Dotson and Paris Campbell block their defenders literally all the way to the end zone. This offense played as a cohesive unit that we really didn't see last year and had complete trust in their QB. Not saying that they didn't so much last year, but you can just tell that they are just so confident in their quarterback. People were saying last year how Jalen Hurts can't read a defense. Now he's out here going 5 no huddles in a row, changing the plays as needed, and marching all the way down for the field for a score. It's just fantastic. It's a huge win for this offense, setting up even more momentum heading into the final few weeks of the season. Okay, moving on to talk about the defense in this game. What this defense did to the number one offense in the league was just something out of a fairy tale. All we heard last year was of how terrible this defense was. And now to go and arguably be the best defense in the league right now, it's just magical. Like some, Disney World type of shit. 71 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 4 pass deflections, 6 quarterback hits, and I think at least 1 forced fumble, possibly 2. I honestly can't remember. But anyway, this defense was a force to be reckoned with. It held Baltimore to under 20 points, which has only happened in one other game for them this year, and that was against the Steelers. The Eagles defense held 2-time MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson to under 240 passing yards and held Derrick Henry, who leads the entire league in rushing touchdowns, to under 85 yards and no scores. Everything Vic Fangio and company has done with this defense has just been immaculate. Most teams cannot go into Baltimore with that dynamic duo and quarterback and running back and the other offensive playmakers that they have and do what the Eagles did to them in that game. Let's look at our D-line. Let's be real. They were getting held all damn night by Baltimore. All night. And it was pretty clear. Yet, despite that, they were rocking the quarterback 9 times with 3 of those hits being sacks. I mentioned this last week. Jalen Carter, he continues to get double team blocked like crazy. Like nobody can, one-on-one block this man. But even so, he's still putting up 4 tackles, a sack, and 3 tackles for loss while being double team blocked all damn night long. He's on the Aaron Donald type of shit, y'all. Jordan Davis, he also had a great game, and Milton Williams continues to rise up in each and every single week. Then you got guys like Nolan Smith stepping up at the edge with 2 of our edge rushers being out. He gets a sack, tackle for loss, and 8 total tackles on the night. These guys putting up pretty good numbers. Then you have our linebackers, and Zach Bond just making a hell of a read on Derrick Henry, who, in momentum, is damn near impossible to stop, gets him down for a tackle for loss on a third down situation. In our secondary, good Lord, the boom that Cooper DeJean, who is 6'0", 198 pounds, and a rookie, the boom that he laid on a 6'3", 247-pound unit of a man like Derrick Henry, it could make a grown man cry with how beautiful that was. People want to talk shit like, oh, Derrick Henry, he didn't have any momentum on that play, or, oh, everyone's just dick riding that play, or some dumb shit like that. It's not just about the tackle. It's also about the read on the play and the speed to be able to make a play like that. The tackle was just textbook perfect. He got low, wrapped behind the knees, drove his legs and his hips forward, and drove Henry into the ground, giving him no possible way to break a tackle like that. That's the type of tackle that you want to be teaching these young bucks out here who are aspiring to be in the NFL one day. The only thing I have negative to say about this defense right now is that Avonte Maddox continues to be a liability. Most of the big mistakes that have led to a score or a big gain from the offense have been committed by him. Whether it's blown coverage or a penalty, it's not looking good for Maddox. It seemed clear to Fangio that he knew that was the case, because I don't believe we saw a lot of Avonte Maddox after that first quarter. But anyway, this defense is something special, y'all. They're not the same one that was dead last in the league last year, and this win continues to prove how dominant they can be, no matter who they play, where they play, what climate they play in, all that shit. They can dominate and wear down an offense to keep them off the board. What a performance by this defense. All right, before I go into the Week 14 preview, I just got some final thoughts on this game. I just want to make it clear for anyone who still has any doubts about this Eagles team. The offense, the defense, the whole damn team. Our Eagles did all that they did to the Baltimore Ravens without Devontae Smith, without Brandon Graham, no Bryce Huff, no Darius Slay, no Johnny Wilson, and at points within the game without Reed Blankenship and without Quinyon Mitchell, to be at a single point in time down 6 starters and pull off a win like that just shows how much raw talent this team as a whole has. People give credit to the Lions with how they've been playing with their injury woes. Our guys should get the same level of credit and recognition that the Lions are getting, which, some are finally doing so and recognizing that, but that should have been the case all season long, at least after the bye week. The young guys, especially on this defense, made names for themselves in that game. Quinyon Mitchell, holding the Ravens' number 1 wide receiver to 2 receptions for 5 yards. Cooper DeJean, one of, if not the highest graded starting corner in the league right now. Tristan McCollum, backup safety in place of Reed Blankenship, comes up with a great PBU on Zay Flowers, almost with the interception, but nonetheless turns the ball over on downs. You obviously got the young bucks on that front line with Nolan Smith making an impact as a second-year player. The list goes on. But this team is on a warpath, y'all. They want that chip. They're not worried about if they're the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, whatever it could be. All they have on their mind, and Saquon even said it himself, is to win football games, including the Super Bowl. And they're just trying to get to that big game 1 week at a time. All right, y'all, let's dive into the Week 14 preview. The Eagles are back at home for the first time in like 3 weeks, coming off an 8-game winning streak. They will host the Carolina Panthers, who are coming off a close defeat to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as Bryce Young continues to show weekly upside. On paper, this looks like an easy win, but we should not go into this game underestimating the Panthers. Here's what I think are a few things we need to do to get the win over Carolina. Starting offensively, you got to elevate your newly signed fullback and have a healthy mix of Saquon, Kenneth Gainwell, and Will Shipley. Yes, we'd all love to see Saquon rack up the numbers against a defense that is ranked dead last and gives up an average of nearly 169 yards per game on the ground. Because he's on pace for over 2,100 yards, this could be a game where he goes over that weekly average that he needs. Putting the fullback in, it gives Saquon an extra blocker, something that he likes, and it creates a higher chance for him to make big plays, big breaks for scores, And for fans, it creates less worry of him getting injured on a tackle. Plus, Gainwell is a solid backup, and Shipley shows good upside. We should see how a rotation of running backs, what happens against their defense. It's not surprising that a lot of defenses put a target on Saquon's back the entire game because of how good he is. If we rotate running backs, this gives us a chance not only to shake things up with the play calls, but to see how the defense reacts to when Saquon's on the field versus off the field and take advantage of the difference in defensive reactions. Also, their pass defense, they're ranked 22nd in the league, and we're on trend to have Devontae Smith and Johnny Wilson back in the lineup. So let's get them some action so that they can be warmed up, essentially, enough to go against a team the following week in the Pittsburgh Steelers that has a way better overall defense. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, we gotta especially watch the running back, tight end dump-offs, and the quick inside passes. Bryce Young was only sacked once against the 12th ranked Tampa Bay rush defense, and he avoided by sacks by doing quick dump-offs to the running backs and the tight ends. So, we got to press up on those guys, especially, you see the running back come up as a wheel route. It's likely going to go to him. But anyway, we got to press up on those guys. Additionally, our corners cannot let those receivers get past them. So hopefully Vic Fangio doesn't have them running cover 2 at any point, which I really don't think he does. He's more of a cover 1 type of guy, but you never know. So regardless, let's try to avoid cover 2 as a whole. Tampa was running a lot of cover 2 and blitz frequently, but Bryce Young was just too quick at getting the ball off, and when the linebacker couldn't read that it was a pass play, the middle linebacker doesn't have a chance to drop back to make it cover 3 fast enough, resulting in wide open passing catches to guys like Xavier Legette, Adam Thielen, and Johnny Tremble. If you look back at the highlights of the game, many opportunities where a receiver is just wide open because they're all pressed on the run game. With Darius Slade trying to come back and Quinion on a lockdown rampage, we'll be good there. And our cover 1 scheme has been quick and effective, so honestly, there's no need to fix it if it ain't broke. Seriously, the defense has been consistent and it's been working tremendously, so we don't need to get all fancy or add any unnecessary shit, change nothing. We don't need to do that. Just keep doing what you're doing. All right, let's end the show off with some predictions. Now, again, this isn't a game we should underestimate. The Panthers almost beat the Bucs, who, if you've forgotten, stomped us into the ground in Week 3, putting up 23 points against them. However, I think with most of our guys back in the lineup, I see a high-scoring game, with us getting a win 31-17. Last week, I predicted a 24-21 win, and I was damn near close with the score ended up being 24-19. So let's see if I'm close again this week. I could see Saquon getting 2 touchdowns this time, Jalen getting 1, and, let's throw another A.J. Brown touchdown in there, and then a field goal from Jake Elliott to cap things off. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15. That's 2NDAND15, or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find the audio for each and every single episode that we have, releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. This episode, the 2nd and 15 show, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Use promo code OCSN for 15% off your order at righteousfelon.com. We're also brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Old City Sports Network, all one word with an E at the end of old, for 20